Smruti, and this is the series Being a Montessori Parent. If you remember, in our previous video, we spoke about the peace flower, which looks like this. And we did talk about environmental awareness, and today let's talk about self-awareness. So before I we start talking about self-awareness, I just want you to do a little thing for me where you just close your eyes now, and think of a few things that you think you really ought to teach your children as a parent. Close your eyes and think of a few things that you think you really need to teach your children as a parent. Okay, now open your eyes and you have a list in front of you. It could be long, it could be short, but I want you to take a look at that list and see if self-love is there as a priority or is there on the list at all. If it is on your list, that is awesome. And if it's not, it should be the first point in your list, because self-love is the most important love, says Dr. Maya Angelou. And without self-love, you cannot have any other harmonious relationship or authentic relationships in your life. So there is an African saying which says, beware when a naked man gives you clothes. So it's very important for you to have so much love that it overflows and you are ready to give it to somebody else. So let's see how we can bring about the self-love in our children. So the first priority is to reflect and see how much love do you have for yourself. And the way you do it is, all of us think, oh yeah, of course we love ourselves, but there are some kind of language we use which kind of shows the child that we may not love ourselves. For example, body shaming. Oh, look how fat I look in this dress, I don't like it, I'm so dark, or I don't like my hair, or whatever it may be, is called body shaming, and it's not showing self-love. This doesn't mean that you don't want to do a particular thing. Like if you think you're unhealthy, then you can start eating healthy and have a fitness routine and make a plan for that. And your child is seeing how you are dealing with a problem in a positive way. Saying, oh, I am so irresponsible is again talking ill about yourself. So watch your language and see. This is something you're going to have to reflect. Maybe you can use some of the points that we will be talking about in relation to children for yourself, but that's something you're going to have to work first about self-love. Giving yourself some time, some me time is also self-love. It is not selfish, it is self-love. Because when we rejuvenate and become full, then we are ready to give more to the people who are with us. So now why self-love? Like why should children be taught self-love, or why should they have it? The basis for every relationship that they're going to have in their life is love. Whether it is a relationship about a parent and a child, or with a colleague, or with a boss, there is some amount of exchange of positive energy there. So if the child has to have harmonious relationships with others, it's important that they love themselves first. So this video, I'd like to talk about ways in which we can bring about this in children. Although it is a self journey, it is still possible to have opportunities and an environment which fosters self-love. So let's see what are the points. The first point I would talk about is authentic appreciation. That means praise or appreciate honestly what you think and see. And first of all, this I would like to talk in relation to the physical form, because that's the first thing that one sees and is easily understandable. It's very important to remember, never body shame your child. Whether they are fat, thin, dark, fair, tall, short, it really doesn't matter. But any of these things are called body shaming. And this is not helping them develop self-love. In fact, appreciating and helping them accept the beautiful form that they have been given for this life is what is our job. So comparisons and putting down a child based on physical appearance is a complete no-no. I can tell you a very simple example. When I was growing up as a child, somebody once or twice may have told me that your nose is fat. And for the longest of times, I remember till I reached high school, I was closing my nose with a handkerchief of my hand wherever I went. Until I realized that this was not necessary and I loved the way I look, then I stopped doing it. But every time, even in teenage years, I still remember I used to close my nose and talk because of this thing. So the minute you've said something, it's affected the child. Especially teenage children are still coming to terms with this body that is changing for them. The hormones are making the body change, and that is not okay with them. They are not okay with this change, and it's important for us to help them become okay by appreciating the way they look. So here the message you're giving your child is, you are beautiful just the way you are. Authentic appreciation should make the child feel you are beautiful just the way you are. The next point is, show your child the best version of himself. So children have phases, they go through tantrums, they go through, the teenage years, the hormonal imbalances that are happening, or they're just figuring out their place in this world. And sometimes they may not be the best version of themselves. So it's our job to make them see it. And how do you make them see it? Is to show the positive side of when they have done something good, or where there is a possibility of them doing something good. And the first motto for this, I will say, is you can do it. Try saying this with authenticity to anyone, and you will be surprised at the version of themselves that they become. And they are seeing that, hey, yeah, I have it in me to do it. It's just not visible right now. So it's important for you to identify those skills of your child, or anything that you think needs to grow. And when you start looking at a person with love, you start seeing the better side of them. And that's what you need to do with the child. Show them the best version of themselves. And the motto here is, you can do it. And that's true. Any child can do it if he puts his head in the game. It's all about us to show them the path, to guide them, and to give them the steps, maybe even break it down into teeny steps, so that they know the direction that they're going. So the second one is, show them the best version of themselves. Third one, and the most important one, is connecting them with their inner powerhouse. Now, I would like to connect this to the first point, that is authentic appreciation, where I spoke about the physical form, where we are praising the child and saying, you are beautiful. But also there is another aspect to the child. It's not just the form. It's also appreciating acts of kindness, appreciating acts of sharing, responsibility. Then the child starts seeing and feeling that I am a wonderful being. So here, connecting with the inner powerhouse gives the message, I am a wonderful being. And when I get this, all the good qualities that are attributed to this wonderful being automatically start showing up. So how do we connect them to this inner powerhouse? Very simple thing is the breath. Just following the breath or watching the breath, bringing the child's awareness when he's angry. Can you sit and just watch your breathing? It's so fast. Why don't we slow it down a little bit? Or, when he's crying, look at your breath. Let's focus on your breath. So connecting, or what do you feel inside? When they ask you something, should I do it? What do you feel inside? So connecting, and we also talk to the children about an inner teacher who is sitting inside. Whenever they make a mistake, we say, why don't you sit down, connect with your inner teacher and see what your inner teacher tells you. So connecting to this inner powerhouse is very, very important. So by connecting to the inner powerhouse, you're giving the message that I am a wonderful being. Okay, and the next step is self-evaluation. Now here, it's very important for us to teach our children to evaluate themselves on whatever happens in the day-to-day life. I would like to give you an example. In one of the books, Dr. Montessori has given us an anecdote on what happened in the classroom that she worked in, where a child brought a picture that they made, which was fully scribbles, and brought it to Dr. Montessori and said, what do you think about my picture? And Dr. Montessori was trying to say something and buy time, and she said, "What do you think?" So that's a self-evaluation. What do you think? And immediately the child looked at the picture and said, "I think this is my best for today." What a beautiful self-evaluation. This is where you are bringing about that development of self-approval. Look at the number of people around us who are seeking for approval in the outside world, to praise us, to tell us we are good, to tell us that what we are doing is great. This is because we don't have enough self-love within us, that we are seeking self-approval from outside. Self-evaluation is the best way to develop the self-approval. So ask your question, always ask the question, so what do you think? Whenever they ask you, is this okay? What do you think? Should I do this? What do you think? So when you do this, you're putting the self-evaluation on them. The last one is shower love on them. Shower as much love. See, you need to know that fine line, which is love versus attachment or dependence. Just because you're being firm with your child, it does not mean you do not love them. You should know the meaning of love and the meaning of giving in to whatever they're saying. Giving in to whatever they're saying is not loving them. Why are we firm with them? Because we love them so much that we don't want them to get hurt. Right? So that kind of love, where you do things because you love them. So every time you discipline your child saying, "I love you and that's why I'm doing this," your child gets to the point, like, you don't do something to somebody you love that is going to be harmful to them. So showering love in the right sense. There is no limit for the number of hugs you can give your child, the number of kisses you can give your child. Give them a lot of love. Every time you feel, what happens is, when they are babies, it is so easy to hug them and cuddle them, and when they grow older, we think they don't like it, and yeah, they may not like it all the time, but they do want it sometimes. Even a teenager wants a hug sometimes. And if they don't hug you, if they feel like, "I don't want to hug you," because they're growing up, then just have a finger hug. I used to do this with my daughter when she was in that phase of no hugging. I said, "Okay, let's do a finger hug," and just to show that we love them and we are there for them. So showering a lot of love. So let me just put all this together for you. Authentic appreciation, showing the child the best version of himself, connecting them with their inner power, and self-evaluation, and showering love. These are the 5 points which will help your child develop self-love. And once this self-love is developed, your child can have harmonious relationships and wonderful conversations and wonderful situations in their life. And even if they encounter situations which are not very nice, they know how to handle it in a loving way. And because of this, they live in a world filled with loving awareness. And that's why it's important for us to help them develop self-love. So I hope we can all do this with ourselves and our children. If you haven't hit on the subscribe button, this is the time. Please hit on the subscribe button. And until next time, goodbye.